6. We will call the meeting to order. Welcome. Thank you for bearing with us. First order of business would be to address the minutes from the November 14 meeting.
I motion for approval of the November meeting.
Second. All right.
Are
you ready
can I do the roll call since I have an order?
Yes.
All right. Tiana.
Yes.
Melissa.
Yes.
Robin. Yes. Christina's not available. Lillian.
Yes.
Rebecca.
Yes.
Stefan.
Yes.
Anne.
Yes.
Kevin is not available. Jen.
Yes.
Did John join? Oh. All right. We have approval.
All right. Minutes approved. Thank you. Next, I wanted to just make note of the email which I forwarded you all about asking about public participation and asking that we bring that back. I'm not going to read the whole email because I respect your time and want to move things along. But a citizen, Julie Scott, wrote into the ESC email inbox saying that she's displeased that the ESC no longer seeks or accepts public participation at the start of the meetings. Requested that this be shared with the committee. I sent it to you all over email this morning. She then went on to explain all the other groups that hold public participation of various forms and sorts, and said that she hopes that we will revisit the positive connections that could be made by offering the public a chance to participate in our meetings and encourage public participation as the large majority of town entities do. And that it was a symbolic and significant loss to have removed public participation. Please focus, I'm quoting here from the email, please focus on building bridges and again, let the voices of the community speak at the start of your meetings. And she closes with thank you for all you offer to do on behalf of the citizens of Wakefield, which I thought was very kind. So certainly, as I said in the email earlier today, I'm certainly open to anyone's feedback on whether we want to have public participation. We rarely do, and I'm certainly happy to welcome people to speak if they show up to meetings. Happy to put it back on the agenda. We had heard from Council Mullen that he generally advises against it. Open to your thoughts, also open to just taking your thoughts over email, as some of you already emailed me during the day today. I would say since all the other pieces have on their agenda, anyone else? Stefan.
I mean, I experienced this one, and part of the reason why I found the subcommittee concept challenging was once you open public participation, the assumption is that the person's coming to bring something for that topic, right? As opposed to like some general like recommendation, right? And honestly, if it wasn't for the council, if it wasn't for our council's recommendation not to include it, it kind of wasn't a big deal, except for the fact that nobody ever came anyway, except for to tell us how we weren't doing our job well, it seemed. So from that stance, like, I would say leave it off if you get another email or complaint, and only then would I'd say that it's actually a thing. But from what I can tell, you know, it's a reason to complain. It's not necessarily that we didn't receive anything in this case that I would say was supportive of the notion of sustainability. They didn't bring concepts. They didn't recommend anything. They literally just said, hey, I wish I could have been included to a thing I've never attended before. And to me, that sounds more like, as much as I know it's a citizen and it's a volunteer organization, the participant in this case isn't actually participating, never has, may never in the future, but now we have to have roll call for participation. So to me, it just feels like a red herring. and a reason for a person, a member of the community, to say that there's something that's amiss when in reality they don't take advantage of it anyway. If this person has attended calls in the past and never spoken up, I don't see any reason why that would change how we think about public participation, and again, especially in regards to the guidance from our council. So I'm opposed to adding public participation back. I would rather that if we needed public participation, we hosted specific events for that purpose.
Thank you. Other thoughts?
I have a question just as a new member. Was there a specific rationale from Tom Mullen for why he doesn't recommend public participation?
Yeah, I could paraphrase. I am not a lawyer. But paraphrasing what I think we heard from Tom, there's some legal precedent where if you allow public participation, you have to allow equal time unfiltered for anyone who wants to participate, and that short of them being like violently disruptive, you can't cut them off even if they say mean and harmful things to you. And that like some past, not, I don't think even in Wakefield, but some past bodies have had situations where people were disruptive to the meeting, but because of public participation standards, they couldn't be asked to not be speaking. So he generally says that it's a can of worms best left unopened. That was his recommendation when he came to talk with us about other open meeting law related recommendations back in September. So that was among them. And per that, I took off public participation because it was fairly rare that we had anyone come to the meetings for public participation.
I see. Thank you.
Sure.
I'm in support of it, although recognizing that rarely have we ever had folks participate. I think this committee does its best job providing multiple ways for people to participate or try to communicate with us. I mean, we have the email address that is open to anyone to reach out to us. We do have a Facebook page. We've tried to go to events to go to the people, town day, farmers market. I wish more people came up, asked questions, came with suggestions, you know, pros and cons to ideas of the town, because it is intent, like we do want to know what people are thinking and what they support or not. So I do wish there was more of a dialogue in all platforms. So whether it's in a meeting or not, I encourage folks to speak up and allow dialogues, not just one directional that you might sometimes see on some platforms.
I mean, I actually, to your point, I think the most participation we get is in in-person settings, town day and festival and those sort of things, when we have a physical presence.
Yeah, I was going to say something similar, that we have a lot of other ways for people to contact us, in person, email. We did have someone join the waste reduction subcommittee once or twice with some concerns. I mean, you know, wanting to understand what the options were for like multifamily recycling and things like that. It wasn't a disruptive thing. It was just like a citizen wondering about his community and what we
I
could
actually
do,
think
what could we
he's
do
on.
to help.
I think he's actually on the Zoom right now.
Which was a great, I was going to say, it was a great contribution to the call. So in that respect, you know, it might not be a bad idea to keep it as an option, but to Robin's point, I do think there's a number of other ways to interact with the committee. So I don't know.
All right. Sounds good. Thank you all for your input. Again, continue to feel free to send me thoughts over email, and we'll continue to take adjustments as needed. I don't think this is a thing we need to vote on. I think I can just do whatever I want on the agenda. It is also, I believe, my prerogative as chair to welcome Chris and say, hey, Chris, we weren't doing public participation, but I see that you joined the meeting. If you wanted to share anything, we'd be happy to hear from you.
Hi all. Nothing for today. Just wanted to get back into the loop.
Sorry, Chris. Just a matter of order. You had to fully identify yourself and your being a resident in Wakefield or not, or so forth. So if you could do that for records.
Of course, yes, thank you. Christopher Kern, 580 Salem Street, in Wakefield. Didn't really have anything for today. Just wanted to see what you guys were up to and be a happy listener.
Well, you're welcome. Welcome to be a happy listener. Thank you for being here. All right, cool. Moving on from that, I want to get some initiative updates from folks on any of the initiatives. I had put a list of some of them on the agenda, but also feel free if there are any other things afoot going on that you want to share from our ongoing initiatives. I think first on the list was school composting and food rescue.
So ESC recently bought a new fridge for Walton School, for the food rescue program. It's a bigger fridge, so that it's full of stuff and overflowing as it has in the past. That's, yeah. Starting food rescue with Bill Bear coming the new year. And I'm hoping that we could also start composting there. Trying to coordinate with Tim O'Brien. See if it's possible to start both at the same time. I also started talking to Nathaniel Chines, coming to our meetings as council member. He's now at the high school, and joined the recycling club there. She said that they are interested in starting composting at the high school, so I'm gonna try to follow up there. See if
Fantastic. Oh, also on food rescue, I believe the Boys and Girls Club is now doing some pickups. When I was at Woodville last week, I heard that they had done a pickup. So that's great since they are one of the recipients of the food, that they have the ability to scoop it up. They take some of the burden off of our volunteers.
Would it be possible to have Melissa move to the side of the table with you guys? I feel like it's much harder to hear her, and we also cannot see her.
oh, Jennifer.
I know. So horrible.
I'm gonna pull a chair around this way.
Why don't you sit on that side of her shoulder? That
For
way.
some reason, the sound is just not as good for you. I don't know whether you're, it just must be in a part of the room that's hard.
Well, we're
It's
audio.
The microphone is
We're
my phone.
using,
Yeah.
Rob's phone, so that's the problem.
That is so much better. I just pinned you guys and I feel like we're in the room.
Wonderful. Well, it feels like we're in a very large room because you're on screens that are like 30 feet away. So if I look like I'm staring off into space, it's because the faces are in the deep distance. This room is just waiting for a large, enthusiastic audience, which today we do not have. Cool. Anything else on school food composty stuff?
You just sent something that was trick. We've had seniors be volunteers,
Yes.
and that was supposed to expire at the end of the year.
Yes.
So has that been renewed?
Well, no, the program is through the fall to December or January.
Okay.
So there, I don't know about which other school is Walton. I don't know about Walton. At Woodville, there were 2 volunteers. They have completed their hours, but one of them was a smashing success and has been converted into a paid part-time, like just lunch
Oh, okay.
staff member. So I believe that person is now covering the days, all of the days. When I was at the Woodville recently, they said that things are well under control. So they got
Nice.
however many hours that was of free to the school support, and then now have brought in the person on a paid basis. So, well, yeah, but I think that was a successful way to bring support into the schools. So we may very well look to do that again. The senior center was very easy to work with on it. They found great people.
So it's only a fall thing.
Yeah, the program like kicks off in July-ish, July, August, and they're supposed to do their, I don't remember exactly how many hours, by December or January for the completion of the program and then the tax benefit that they get. So it, as far as I understand, can't be used in the spring.
Yeah, I don't know what Walton's doing. It's really good. Managed by the principals.
You can check in and see if they have a plan. Um,
I mean, they have like 3 days. Part-time person. He's was filling those 2 other days. So. Interim plan to do that.
Louder, Melissa.
and move it closer to,
She's not hearing, is that what you're saying?
Little louder.
I think the microphone's on the bottom.
I thought that was the
Oh.
top.
if we put it here,
Better?
how's that? Now you're looking at the ceiling and not my
Well, you can
face,
take
but.
the video.
Yeah. Better.
Any other waste reduction related things besides school? On the event side of things.
Oh, next
ooh,
on the agenda was
oh.
multifamily.
Oh, yeah, well, I considered that waste
Oh, okay.
waste related things. Anything new on multifamily recycling? And that was a topic that came up
Yeah,
before.
unfortunately not. I wish I had an update, but I've not been able to get through to anybody.
Is there someone, who are you trying to get through to, and is there something that we can do to help?
What is her name? I can't remember her name. She was the town planner, I believe, listed on the website. I can try someone else, but so far I've had no luck getting any feedback from her.
Okay. Dan?
We trying to get a hold of Erin or Sam.
Not Erin.
Okay,
Let me
so yeah, so
see.
Sam. Yeah, so I think she will definitely get back to you. I'm sure she has a lot on her plate right currently, but I'm sure she will get back to you.
Okay.
And then I just want to say on the tax write-off, it's 50 hours.
Thank you.
Once they do the
Yeah,
50,
that's
then they're done.
beautiful. Okay.
Also on the waste fix it cafe? Any? No.
No news there. All right. On events, we still have not heard of a date yet for Wakefield 101, so clearly it's not happening in November. I would guess it's also not happening in December. We'll stay tuned. I sent a follow-up email to Jen McDonald asking if there's a date on that. That would be fun to do whenever it happens. But we did hear today from the science coordinator, Joanne, that STEAM Night, the K-4 event that happens at Galvin in the spring, is on again. So that's sort of like a science fair type of environment where a variety of companies, organizations, the library, a whole bunch of folks have a table and interactive things, and kids in the K-4 range come by and learn science and math and other things. We've done it at least 2 years, I think. And it's a lovely good time. Last year, I got to pet a snake and a frog. So that is on April 15th, which I think is a Tuesday. I think it's at 5:30. So I know that's like 4 months away. So pencil it in if it's something that you're interested in participating in. We'd love to have a couple of volunteers at the table at the Galvin, April 15th. So let me know if you are.
It's a Tuesday.
That's a Tuesday. Okay, that's what I thought. So let me know if you'd like to be one of the people at that. In the past, we've done activities around well, we can figure it out closer to then, but we've done stuff around like the carbon footprint of different ways of getting to school. And we've done like a trash recycle or compost sorting game. We've given out pollinator friendly native plant seeds. That was a big hit. Kids were real excited to walk away with seeds. I have no idea whether they got planted, but kids were really excited to walk away with seeds. So yeah.
Maybe we could do something about Earth Day since
it's right around Earth Day. Yeah. So noodle on ideas for things that we could do that are fun for that age range, and let me know if you're available.
As I say, based on last year, if folks are going with their kids, can only stay a little time, that works still. It doesn't, you don't have to
Yes.
commit to the full
It's like
2
I
hours?
think it was like an hour and a half or 2 hours.
It's a
Yeah.
short commitment.
Yeah. Yeah. If you're going with your kids and you wanted to say like, I'll do a half an hour at the table, that's fine too. If we have a handful of folks, it's fine. Yeah.
Or step away to touch a snake.
Yes. Snake was really cool. And then I don't think we have, or I guess Robin, I don't know if you had any further
Yeah.
thoughts on bats.
Nope, haven't done anything.
When we get to the agenda item about goals for this coming year, I'd love to get some ideas on other events and things that people would like to see. On other initiatives, Stefan, anything new in the green spaces space?
No, I've been mostly engaged on being sick and having kids, but no, there hasn't been any changes in the place.
Sorry to hear that on the being sick part. Can't do anything for the kids, but
Yeah,
that's
Thanksgiving was wonderful. Thanks.
all right. Cool. Any other initiatives afoot that people want to share about?
Just one thing about the climate leaders program. We were recently told by Dylan, the Green Communities Coordinator, that police vehicles are actually going to be exempt from zero emission vehicle policy until further notice. So all that concern about police vehicles being included is no longer applicable, and I think that the vehicle policy is something that we could work on in the coming year. And the first round of climate leader applications is due at the end of the month, but the second round is in June, so could be a possible target for us, June.
Sorry, that's grant money or?
Cool. The climate leaders is the next step after green communities,
Uh-huh.
which involves more grant money. And I mean, there is a lot of grant money out there for municipal EVs. So that could be part of our, our argument for the zero emission vehicle policy, because there's a lot of money out there to support it.
Is that something that you want to take steps on, or did you want to?
Yeah, it's something that I want to look further into, because I was looking into it previously. Now that police vehicles are exempt, I think it's something that is pretty doable, especially with all the incentives out there, and would get us, pretty much there on climate leaders as far as the requirements go. The last thing would just be for the town to make a target for being net zero by 2050 for just municipal operations. But I'm hoping that the decarbonization roadmap has that in there anyways. So see if there's, I don't know, Anna, is there any update on that?
I left him a message, but I have not heard back from him today.
Him being the consultant?
Yes. I honestly thought months ago we would have gotten something back.
Yeah, I would have thought by the end of this year at least.
And I would have thought we would have had some communication on if they were struggling with something, but
Yeah.
nothing.
Stefan?
I was gonna ask, I thought there was at least the last discussion around the vehicle inventory was that they wanted somebody in the town, to handle the inventory. So does the removal of the police vehicles change that at all? I'm just wondering, like, what's the next step for us to engage if we're waiting for somebody in an administrator role to,
No, so the idea previously decided was to work with have the DPW lead on developing this policy, but we would be assisting and in creating the policy, but they would be the ones responsible for putting it together and taking it to town council.
okay, so is that still the case then? DPW has to,
Yeah, that's still the plan.
Okay.
I was just bringing up the news about the police cruisers and the fact that I think it's more doable now that is the case.
so at this point, is it more that we're waiting for, like, is the next thing we would do, get back together on the drafting of the application, or do we need, what is the thing we're waiting? Are we still waiting for the consultant for DPW to give us
So I think the next step would be probably to meet with Anne and talk about the policy and see, thoughts on DPW leading it and timing and how we can put it together, that type of thing.
Cool. Thank you.
Sounds good. I would say if you have a conversation with Anne about it and you want to bring it back to a next meeting with like a steps or what remains to be done, I'm sure we could get folks interested in helping with pieces if there's a clear, like, which steps need to be passed along or conversations to have. But that is a good piece of news that's changed the criteria, since that was a sticking point. Cool. All right, moving on to the updates from other groups. We do not have school committee here. On the news on the student liaison and youth council piece, we still don't seem to have any student liaison or student members separately, but we have a youth council member. Her name is Ellie, and she'll be joining us next meeting. I haven't met her yet, but I will, and she's excited to learn about what we're up to and to bring us news from the youth. So stay tuned for that. I only just was told of her a day or two ago, so she was not able to make it to this meeting on such short notice. So good news there. Next, Anne, I'd love any updates from DPW side of things.
So bonus weekend on the pit. It'll be open both Saturday and Sunday this weekend. The cardboard container will be back at Town Hall starting Monday, the 16th, which I believe is next Monday. It'll be there till at least January 16th. We had started.
It's still at the pit though this weekend?
It'll be at the pit till Monday morning, and then it will
Great.
take the ride over to Town Hall.
Cool.
We started string lights last Wednesday, and we made our first drop over at the scrap metal place today, 270 pounds. 5 very big bags went over there, so that was awesome. We did our Green Communities annual report, and we've filed our reimbursement, which is great. Dylan did his walkthrough of the buildings he could get into. All went well, so now we are just waiting for our invoices to be approved and to get our reimbursement, which is awesome. And we can start thinking of our next project for the spring.
And what's the value of the reimbursement you're seeking?
So it's just under $200,000. The project went a little over, so DPW picked up the difference. But we're just waiting to be reimbursed for the electrician work and for the lights.
Fantastic. And do we have a sense of what the next project will be for this coming year?
I haven't, open to ideas. Joe had mentioned he'd love another solar project, so that's something to think about. But we have a little bit of time. I'll keep you posted. And then we haven't received any information on our RDP grant. I would have hoped by now we would have heard, but I think they're a little delayed. But it is very interesting where next year's points will come. So they've changed a lot of the criteria. So in the past, like to get 1 point, trash had to be 64 gallons or less. Well, this year it's 34 or less. So that's a point we'll lose this year. So
What does that mean?
say that again.
You mean the bins on the sidewalk?
Yes, curbside collection.
Oh.
So there's a nice little like cheat sheet that they send. And I will share it. I'll send it to everyone tomorrow. Just because it gives you good ideas on projects we can work on and ways we can get points kind of in advance because usually it's due in June. So it gives us 6 months to make changes or implement something if we can. And the solar project is moving along. We're working on some agreements, the roof. We have the manufacturer connected with the solar company and so they're working out any details. Well, what they'll do is we'll have an inspection. They'll put a hold on the roof warranty. The work will get done, it'll get re-inspected and the roof warranty will go back on. So we won't lose any time on the roof warranty while the work's being done. So I'm very happy on how fast things are moving. I'm actually feeling a little pushed, which is great. So that's all a good sign. So
Do we know when the work's gonna start?
it's gonna start in January if all goes as planned.
Wow,
Great.
fantastic.
Yeah, so we will try to take pictures and have Jen McDonald do a progress report as we go along.
Wonderful. Yeah, any pictures or interim reports, happy to sing about it on Facebook. That's great to hear.
Sounds great.
Awesome. Lily?
I just had a question about the lights, and I thought I heard you said that you were doing the Christmas lights thing again. How long does that go through? What's the last collection?
So right now we have a plan to go to January 3rd.
Okay.
But honestly, today I was shocked when I got to the office, the barrel was overflowing. There was so many lights. So about 270 pounds worth have already in 3 days,
Wow.
4 days. So pretty
It's
awesome.
at Town Hall, is that where it is?
Yeah, it's at Town Hall.
Okay.
In the front lobby as you go the double doors into where the DPW is.
That's great. It's a good program. A lot of interest in that one.
Do you think people are dropping off working lights or broken lights, or you don't know?
I would say 50-50. We do have someone who has been plugging them in. If they're working, he does offer them to others.
Oh, that's good.
Mhm.
Yeah. So we have reused, I would say, I didn't even count that in the weight, but yes, we've been reusing a lot of them.
That's great.
Good. Glad to
Good.
hear that. That's a great question.
Is Town Hall open on the weekends for drop off or is it only Monday through Friday?
Monday through Friday.
All right, I gotta figure out a way to get there.
You want to drop them at my house? I have a bag that I'm gonna bring by that aren't working.
No, I get
so-
the pumpkin lights. When we did pumpkin composting, there was lights in,
Oh,
so I have orange lights to drop off.
They have to be string lights. Are they string lights?
Oh, it's a string.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah.
yeah, drop them at my house.
And they're in pumpkins?
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, anyway, if you drop them at my porch, I'll burn them.
Okay.
Cool, awesome, good updates. Anne, anything else from your side of things?
That is about it, I think.
Okay, and we do not have a town council member present. Jen, any updates from Gas and Lights?
Sure. I just wanted to extend a special thank you to Anne and the team at DPW for the solar on the Galvin. We're just so thrilled that it passed and excited that that project is going to get built quickly. So yeah, thank you for all your hard work and looking forward to seeing that come to pass. I have two other updates. One is that I think WMGLD is going to join us in January for a review of CNI energy efficiency offerings. and talk with us about how we can better partner on green business, I guess, initiatives overall. So that'll be good. And
B&I, commercial and industrial.
correct. I'm so sorry. I don't.
All good.
Yes, commercial and industrial. So that'll be a good way for us to kind of see if we can, how we can best collaborate on that and spread the good word. It's definitely been a challenge for us to reach our commercial and industrial base, especially small businesses, is always a challenge for energy efficiency. So anything we can do to spread the word that these programs are out there and make sure everybody has the opportunity to participate if they want to would be really appreciated. So looking forward to that discussion. The other thing going on this winter is energy park stuff continues. So a couple things going on. Over, I guess in November, I heard that the Maple Way plantings were going to be completed. So there's a couple different components to the energy park, and some of it is actually replanting, reforesting, and rehabilitating existing land. So in Maple Way, there's an area that was deforested a number of years ago. That forest is being replaced. Over in Burns Park, which is actually on the west side off of Albion Street on Ballister, there's a substation that has been retired. That's being turned into a park for the local neighborhood, much of which is multifamily without yards and whatnot. So it's a small park, but it's still in addition to open space in this community. So that's going to be happening over the winter and into the spring. And then at the energy park itself, the batteries will be installed hopefully in the spring in time to be live for our summer season, so we can start to use them for to offset some of the most expensive hours of the year, which happen to be in the summer months.
Jen, so the energy park can be up and functional with the batteries prior to the schools going live? I know it needs to be ready before the schools are live, but if it's available sooner than that, we can start using just the batteries on their own?
I believe so, yes. And also, it will be functional in time for the first school to be live, which is the Voc. So that's, as you know, the construction schedule for that is about a year ahead of our high school.
Okay.
So the timing is being coordinated closely with that school, which is the first one to come online.
And currently, it looks like the energy park will be available before the Voc is ready to open?
It should be at the latest available on time for the Voc to open, but certainly if we can use those assets over the summer and earlier, we will. So we're doing the best we can to get everything live so that they can be useful and used for the community at large as well.
Right. I know being available on time is what prevents needing to purchase like diesel generators and stuff, right? That's part of the
Yes.
push for having it up and running before the
Well,
school.
and just to provide life safety, yes, exactly, for the building.
Great, fantastic. At whatever point there's sort of milestones around those reforestation and park projects, let's talk about it, celebrate it. Like, would we want to do a little park day or something? I guess I'm jumping ahead to ideas for next year, but like let's think about if there's ways that we can help Gas and Light celebrate the some of the side benefits of these projects.
Absolutely. I will keep you posted on that.
Cool. And yeah, so then also, as you mentioned, a couple members of Gas and Light are going to come visit our next meeting to talk with us about the commercial and business side of things and what they're up to. So they appreciated the invitation, and this was not a good meeting for them. So they'll be looking forward to joining us next time. So have any questions ready for them. Cool. Okay. I wanted us to spend a little bit of time because, it's December, it's the end of the year, talking about anything we're especially proud of that went on this year on the ESC side of things and what we'd like to see happen next year. Rather informal list. I don't know if we'll do like a, retreat sort of thing like we did last year. certainly open for ideas. If people are excited to do something like that, we can in the spring or next month or in the spring. But yeah, I'd love to hear, what you're proud of from this year.
I would say that I'm proud that we've been able to continue in-person ways to meet people, on different platforms and so forth, that, making ourselves available, I think is something. During COVID, that wasn't an option. We came through and came back doing it. I think that's great.
I was really happy with the response we got from that sports swap we did. It definitely exceeded my expectations for the enthusiasm from the community. So that might be something we consider doing again next year.
Mhm.
I personally love participating in the EV showcase, and I mean, I think the participation of EV owners was fantastic, but um I think continue to do that next year. I mean, y'all did more of I wasn't able to participate in the setup and all that, but you all did a really fantastic job getting the word out and getting the event going. So
Thank you. That was one of my highlights for the year as well. I enjoyed the EV showcase.
We had someone from New Hampshire to come. I mean, like, how
That is
crazy is
kind of
that?
cool. That is pretty cool. Well, and I won't name names, but I'm aware of at least one person who was at the EV showcase looking and who has since texted me about being in the process of purchasing an EV for themselves. So
I still have the decal on my car. I mean,
I do too. Yeah, I thought that decal was super cool. That was real nice of Gas and Light to make those for us.
yeah.
What else? What else are we proud of?
I'm proud that we are continuing with the school waste programs, and trying to get more schools on board. And
We added Woodville this year. Woodville was new in January, right?
yep. Was it? this past
Wasn't
January?
it?
I can't remember time right now
I am.
with that. Was it this past January?
I think so.
Or maybe it was last year. I think it was new last year.
No, I think it was.
We need to look back on what year it
I think
was.
I think it was only this spring. I'm almost certain. Stay tuned. Continue saying things you're proud
Anyways,
of.
adding more schools, continuing with those programs, I think is great. And yeah, just continuing to work on different new ideas like the swaps. There's like so many different swaps we could do besides sports equipment that
Mhm.
great to look further into different ideas surrounding that.
Confirmed. Yes, Woodville started in January.
Nice.
Yes, and actually, if I could share something that I'm a little bit proud of, although it's also very silly, is that there are students.
Am I calling? Uh-oh. Oh, I'm gonna mute this because we're overhearing a phone call. All right, we had to mute the speakers in the room because we think we heard something private.
Can you hear us now, folks?
But you can still hear us, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. That was very odd. We were like intercepting a emergency call.
Sorry, you were saying.
So having been at the Woodville, both last spring at the start of the program, and then this fall when we kicked it back off again at Woodville, there are now Woodville school children around town that will recognize me and say, "Oh, you're the compost lady." So I am now, I'm the compost lady as far as the Woodville students are concerned, which is like, I was recognized at the hardware store by some kid the other day.
You
So.
just started.
Sorry, there was some sirens going off here, so.
Mm.
It was a rather exciting place to be.
Yeah.
Anyway, yes, so school waste.
Yeah.
Good progress.
Mhm.
I'm psyched that the solar on the Galvin passed. I mean,
Yeah.
we as ESC had very little to do with it. We simply said that we agree. Maybe, you know, but I'm certainly psyched about solar on the Galvin. I wouldn't count that as an ESC accomplishment.
Town accomplishment.
Town accomplishment, yeah. The bees thing was really cool at the library. When we had the beekeeper and the hive at the library, that was really, really neat. It was fun to go visit the compost place. We had a very underwhelming turnout, but Melissa and I enjoyed it. There were a few other people, but it was cool.
I mean, if we could offer it again now that some rules have adjusted, then I would love to
Oh,
see
that's
it.
true.
So,
Yes. Now that we don't have as much quorum challenges. Pumpkin collection was a smash.
it continues to.
Yeah.
In fact, and next year we might need to talk about having 2 collections because we fill the truck. So
Well, I wonder if we might want a second day or like a 1 week later at some central location or something. 'Cause I feel like we heard a lot of, "Oh no, I missed it. Now who wants my pumpkin?"
there's a lot of
There
that
was
on.
a lot of that like in the 2 weeks after the collection. So we
Even
might,
When people have,
yeah.
when the month changed, the sidewalk ones are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, maybe it's something that we could collect at the pit or some other, central location where not just school people can drop off.
What else? I think of what else we did?
In the last year?
Yeah.
Was,
Oh, I wish I
was
got
opt-in the spring of this year?
No,
last
it was-
fall.
Last fall? Okay.
Yeah.
I'll come next meeting with stats on how many Facebook posts we made. I would guess at least 100.
Oh, yeah, you've been achieving the outreach.
Well, I post a lot. I don't know if it's reaching.
But you actually can tell. You have access to stats.
That's true. Yes, I'll bring some stats next time.
If I'm not mistaken, climate leaders as a concept was barely in discussions in January. And we got all the way, like the progress we made towards that was actually pretty great, given, I mean.
I mean, we got that decarbonization roadmap grant. We worked with Ann on that, so that was definitely a success to celebrate, for sure.
But even didn't we get a grant towards, or is that maybe the consulting grant we got because we were going after climate leaders, right?
Yes.
Well, we got that because we said we were going after climate leaders, and we also had passed the opt-in code, so it made us
That's what it was.
more attractive to get the grant.
There you go. That's what it was.
We attended several events, Steam Night, Festival by the Lake, Town Day, which was very wet.
Sustainability Representatives, sustainability event.
Yes, Replica Caribbeans Recycling Day. So we were out in the crowds for things. Okay,
We have a
well,
rest stop at 8:30?
we do not.
Okay.
Well, and so then moving into the future, in this next year, what are some things that folks would like to see us do in this coming year?
One idea from a conversation, education, and potential policy, for suggestion for folks is other communities are really looking at towns leading the way of not using rat poison for the benefits of owls and other predatory birds and so forth. So there are communities that are recognizing that there are alternatives to rat poison as a way to control the rats. I have my own rat problems in my neighborhood, so I'm not immune to it, but there are other ways to promote, to support the owls and the hawks so they can eat the rats, and we just don't want the rats killing birds. So there's some community groups that have pretty active sites. I think there's maybe some resources at the state level, and maybe even Audubon. What's that?
Do we know if that's an issue here?
My neighbors are using rat poison, and I'm sure the town does. I could be wrong, and maybe you could speak better, but it is, when I applied for an addition to my house, or when I needed a building permit, I had to show that I had a rodent control practice. And they're basically looking to show that I had rat poison. I could be wrong on that was the requirement. I didn't look at it closely, and I did do rat poison boxes at the moment, but it is, expectation is that you have things. Am I misspeaking, Anne, of how that works?
I'm not sure how that's the building inspection
know.
services, so I'm not sure about that. I know the town, we use Waltham Pest as our exterminator, and I know they've worked with them on not using the alternatives to using poison.
Oh, that's awesome. Okay. I mean, maybe it's not an issue that the town, from a town.
But it certainly
right.
might be something that there could be more education about, like, what are the options? What could people do if they're concerned about it? Yeah.
I think there's also, you got to go beyond just the town, right? So individual education, like we have cats and we know that they catch mice from time to time. So using poison is not an option, but there's also that one owl that comes by every year, and I'd hate to lose that guy because he's pretty amazing. Just listening to the barred owl every year. But I think it's, even if the town is doing one thing, if we don't educate in people, just like the leaf program, like as great as it was not to rake this year, because I followed the program, right? The idea that not everybody's going to do that. So if one person does it and nobody else does it, doesn't make much of a difference. But if we can continue to grow that, so I think it's in that vein of like community education, and even things like if we wanted to, I don't know that we can recommend a vendor as a community committee, but having like a list of vendors, for instance, or something like that, that are, maybe they sign up for, we could do something like that where Foxconn, for instance, I know does pest control with things like various pollinator safe things, and other pest control measures that are considered to be non-toxic. So finding things like that and then making those things the type of information available to people could be good.
Right, pest control in general, rats, but also other
Yeah.
other pests. Yeah. What else are people excited to take on this coming year?
Yeah, I mean, as I said before, definitely looking into more swaps to do in the coming year.
Yeah, given the excitement about the sports one, certainly doing that again, there's probably interest, but then are there other,
Yeah.
like, what could be the sort of hot items to do some swaps around?
Yeah.
The other thing, did we just do the one swap, right, in the?
Yeah.
So I think it might also be, if we did it as a program, you know, if you want to buy hockey skates at Play It Again Sports, don't go in January because they're all gone, right? It's like, so there's certain times when people are really looking for stuff, and that might be something to consider, which is, just twice a year you get a spring and a fall, or like, because or like early spring and an early fall kind of thing, because otherwise it's those people look for things on a very seasonal basis. So
Yeah.
So just expanding the program and stuff.
Yeah, I think it could easily be done twice a year. The farmer's market was a good venue for it, so we'd have to find some other place to do it if it wasn't farmer's market season, but I think the appetite is there.
And then I wonder if we're doing it twice a year, is there some way to store stuff in between rather than having to get rid of it? I don't know if there's, if we're doing it on a somewhat regular basis, we don't have to get rid of any leftovers. We just keep them for the next time if we think that they'll go then.
Maybe, yeah.
On the sort of maintaining things that we do side, I certainly would like to continue to show up at New Resident 101, Town Day, et cetera, those events that Recycling Day. I think those are good times for us to engage with the community.
In terms of like engagement and increasing awareness, have there been specific efforts to increase like diverse participation among people of color or low income groups?
No, that's a great idea.
Yeah, I don't have a specific policy plan. Obviously, that would be complicated and multi-pronged, but that'd be something I'd be interested in.
Yeah, we had a very brief topic around environmental justice, and which relating to what you're saying, that often minority and disadvantaged communities bear the brunt of both climate challenges and are, in less of a position to push for changes they want to see or make particular changes. Environmental justice as a topic came up a few months ago, I think at a town council meeting, particularly I believe in relation to the MBTA zoning, because in Wakefield we have one Massachusetts designated environmental justice community up at the Colonial Point, like the area up toward Audubon Road, and near where the Linfield Marketplace is a designated environmental justice community. And there was some question and general lack of awareness about that sort of in the town council and zoning conversations. And so we had at one point said, "Ooh, it'd be great to get a speaker and do something about that." And then that's been on my to-do list, and I've utterly failed at finding a speaker who could come talk with us about it and help us learn more. So if that's something that you're excited about, I'd love to talk with you more about it and see if we could put our heads together maybe and find someone who could talk about that and help us to, find good ways to move forward productively there.
That would be a potential like cross collaboration with the human rights group, right?
And we reached out to them at one point as well about it. I don't think that conversation went very far, but I think if we made a thing happen, they would be happy to come to it or cross promote it, but I think they are all quite understaffed. So I don't think they're gonna make it, make anything more happen, but I think they'd be happy to be invited should we make something.
It's nice when we can, committees work together on something.
Absolutely. Actually, that was one other thing I was gonna bring up is like, are there other groups that we would like to collaborate with? We obviously collaborate all the time with Gas and Light and with the DPW. There are our everyday friends, but are there other friends around town? Friends of Lake Quantapowhat or Conservation Commission, the Economic Development. What's the C4 on their side? I don't know. Economic development folks, like any of those folks who have interest in any overlapping or intersecting areas with us might be fun to collaborate with. We cross promote with the litter pickup warrior cleanup folks.
In the library for them hosting.
Yes.
I know last year we weren't generally interested in taking up any kind of EV or transportation concern, only because of capacity, but I am just wondering if I mean, as a person dropping off kids in the morning and picking them up at the end of the day and watching the amount of idling cars every day, just it does not sit well with me. And the fact that there are buses in the town just on a very limited basis. I know, and this is not about EV buses, this is not about trying to change, but is there any value in attempting to collaborate with the school to try to increase the amount of the amount of busing that's being done to reduce the amount of pickup and drop off? Or is that a non-starter? Is it too big for us as a committee?
I don't know. I mean, I think someone had said that the buses are actually sold out. You may not see them full because they're not being used, but the seats don't equal the student population. So in order to increase offerings, they'd have to have a different bus contract, it sounds like. And that's its own timetable and logistics.
I think there are some challenges around the capacity of the buses, but I mean, the buses bus my kid takes is certainly not full.
Right. Well, and part of that's because if I mean, I know there's logistically, right, you have challenges with having buses on routes, and if the town isn't like where I grew up, it was rural and everybody rode the bus until basically their senior year of high school when they could drive. And so there wasn't like a thing you didn't, but like the idea that they could have a bus that goes around the Greenwood is a very small area. And yet there's like 50 cars that descend on the school every morning, and it's kind of crazy to me that there's buses that'll take a kid from Greenwood over to the Galvin, but not that take up all the kids that go directly to the Greenwood, right? And that would be true for all of the elementaries. It's just that the whole busing concept is based around the idea that it's a secondary concern, not a primary concern, and it's not pushed. But then that would require the town being very interested in, like I think of the traffic. I mean, there's all sorts of add-on impacts that are all around carbon generation, and getting the town to switch all of everybody's cars over to EV is not going to happen, not in in a decade probably. But if you were to get rid of all of the bus or rather the busable student traffic and then the traffic that generates, I'm also concerned. I mean, when you start adding in the commuter overlay district, right, is assuming we ends up finally going forward at some point. But like even then it's the increase in multifamily dwellings and things like that, the quantity of vehicles is actually just going to go up, which is going to make it even more difficult. So I haven't heard anything that sounds like increasing the MB and not MBTA, but like a local bus routes or anything like that for like adult traffic. But for
Well, I
student
think the new head of the lake development is supposed to have a shuttle service, I believe. Once that's up and running.
I believe that's right. There's gonna be like a loop bus that goes
Right.
around
That's
from
good.
that. Mhm.
But I think it's more
But
like in the United States in general, public transportation is not very popular except for in certain specific cities. And here we are in a town that's not even attempting like the smallest thing, which is the children population going to schools, 10 months out of the year or however many it is. So anyway, I just don't know if I could make a case and go do a bunch of reading and try to do something with that. But if there's no stomach for it or capacity for us to engage on the topic, or if people think it's a dead topic, like we have talked about it every
I think it's worth talking. I mean, we did a little bit of promotion of Hey Ride the Bus at when it was time to sign up for buses this year.
Right.
But we could certainly do more. I know that would probably be something to talk through when we have both Kevin and John in the meeting. I know, Kevin as school committee liaison, and I know John is real interested in the electric school bus topic, which is sort of the other side of that coin. Like it would be better just to fill the existing gas buses.
Yeah.
Then sort of next step is move to electric buses, but anything around the school transport topic. We've talked a little bit in the past about increasing sort of biking and walking and, the bike bus concept of like get a bunch of kids to bike together with maybe one grown up
that's another group we could partner with. Is the
Safe Streets.
Safe Streets.
Yeah. Yep.
I was gonna say that I think I remember somebody mentioning that there's no bus service option for Walton and Greenwood schools. So maybe that's something that could be focused on, just having that option available instead of, a grander, bus initiative, just maybe working on those two schools, having those options available.
There are
Could be
bus
some-
drop-offs at Greenwood. I just don't know what the like. I would swear if like two kids get off of that bus in the morning when I'm dropping my kids off, and so I don't know like back to that capacity thing. Like they're not filling the buses that are there, so the first step would be to just increase use of the bus somehow, and then
I think
Yeah, they definitely said
as
they
a
sell
green,
out. Yeah.
I was gonna say, as a parent of Galvin kids who both ride the bus and former Greenwood parent, I think the issue with Greenwood, right, is you have to live like a certain distance away, or you have to pay. And the bus is really quite expensive. I think that's a big barrier for a lot of people too, to pay up front. So that would need to be part of the discussion. And again, as a parent of middle schoolers that ride the bus, it is not particularly popular, I think, among other parents as well. My kids certainly complain it takes them 45 minutes to get there versus their friends who get there in like 8 to 10 minutes. So there are a lot of logistics that would have to be figured out about payment, whether or not people are interested, and maybe a first step would be in some way trying to pull folks at Walton or Greenwood to see would anyone take a bus? Is there interest in the community if someone wanted to partner on that with us?
Or even looking at grant opportunities to make the fee a little more affordable.
yeah.
Let's just jump in and say, I think this is actually a really important issue. And I also wanted to point out at the high school level that there's opportunities to increase scootering and electric bike use, and that's already going on and might increase naturally, in which case there's not really any place for those to go. So it's just a consideration for the future. That there's going to be other forms of transportation at that level that kids can take and will likely take.
I think that's a good point. I work at a high school where the kids don't have a place to park their electric scooters, and they're just behind the school, like they're hiding them, hoping people don't steal them, which is not a great option. So having like a secure storage place will be important.
Do we know if the new high school has some sort of storage built in for that?
I haven't seen the plans in a very long time. Having a place indoors is unlikely, because of the battery question, but having a secure place outside, even if it wasn't in the project, doesn't mean the town can't provide a secure shelter.
Like a
Yeah.
bike shelter,
Yeah,
like
like a
there are
cage.
at some train stations.
Yeah, like Oak Grove, you have a secure,
Yeah.
chain link,
Right.
enclosure. That is a good, I think this is something we need to start and really find out from Kevin, from a school standpoint, because the busing is a contract thing that's complicated, so they need to let us know what opportunities are change or not change, but thinking ahead to scooters and stuff like that, promoting, where to park it and safely, and I mean, and I'm thinking of there was a bike rack at one point. A bike rack question at somewhere, we're just like, who puts it in? Am I still? I am, okay, we're still good. Just can the town start to think about more of that infrastructure,
What bike racks?
bike racks, bike shelters, things like that.
Something I wanted to bring up is I wonder whether we want to do anything, so moving off of the transport, particularly to schools topic, around resilience. Like as a community, I know we did the municipal vulnerability plan a couple years ago, but from a sort of either town or like individual homes perspective, is there stuff we could do around rain gardens or other, like how to be prepared for severe weather things? Is there stuff that we should be thinking about for making, where we live resilient to weather, to droughts, to forest? Like we experienced some forest fires this fall. That was kind of new. Those sorts of things.
And is there any way to measure the benefit of the rain gardens the town has put in the last couple years? On Albion and the effort around the lake, is there a way to show how it's benefited those zones?
I'm not sure. I can check with engineering and get back to you.
Because I think those are two different examples. The rain garden on Albion are, within curb cuts, so what people can do kind of in front of their house or in the back, and then around the lake, huge efforts on the edges and so forth. But it would be nice if there's metrics out of it that shows its value and so forth.
I mean, it would probably look at like the pollution level of the lake before and after, maybe.
We didn't get a lot of rain this year, so that changes sometimes the
Yeah.
pollution levels. I don't know, but that would,
Well, and like absorptions stuff. Like I know my street becomes a lake whenever there's flash flood type of rain. We end up with like a good lake and huge, tidal waves coming over the curb. But are there right things to be doing about that, either at the sort of town curb level or, in your front yard? It'd be fun maybe to have someone who knows something about that come do some hands-on talks and examples.
I think having more guest speakers next year would be great. We haven't had that many past.
To the meetings?
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be great. Always open to suggestions. I tend to submit the meeting agenda a week ahead of the meeting. So anytime, if you've got an idea or someone you want to invite, please just email me and we can coordinate getting them to a meeting and on the agenda. That's great. We could maybe next one meeting soon, we could brainstorm some guest speakers we'd like to hear from.
Yeah, I mean, just related to all these topics.
Yeah, Yeah, I'd love to have somebody talk about alternatives to sprinklers to maintain grass in situations where there's more drought or variable water. So alternative lawn care, basically.
Hmm.
And I think we had John Carney indicate that he would be interested in that as well. Because he's looking into water use in town and pollution in waterways and all related issues.
Yes, that is a topic he has mentioned. What you said on lawns generally, though, made me think of like native plants, and we had the talk about bees, and there was like a mention of which flowers bees like, but it wasn't actually plant focused really as a talk. It might be nice to do something where we hear about, hey, if you're going to plant some stuff, here are some good healthy things maybe that are drought resistant or
Maybe talk to the club.
yeah.
Partnering on something like that.
Yeah, and ground cover too, that's not grass, that could be more flexible to different water conditions.
Right. Is your grass failing? Try this instead. It's not grass, but it's lovely and it will succeed.
I encourage the use of clover.
We love clover. And then the bunnies eat the clover instead of eating the stuff in your raised bed
They
garden.
still-
No, they don't eat my raised bed. Maybe my raised bed garden is taller than. Another thing that has been brought up occasionally is around, and this sort of relates to some of the in-person events we go to, but how to help make town, like big town events, less wasteful. So we have the water truck, but then still end up with a lot of cups. Food vendors come to, say, Festival at the Lake or Town Day or whatever, and we have a little compost bin thanks to the DPW, but not a lot of stuff is compostable. Like, are there ways to help the 5Ks, the festivals, the whatever that happen be less trash producing? Like, I don't know if what the best way to do that is. If it's a matter of sort of having a page of tips that we, point people to, or if we need
We
to
need
do
one.
some more hands-on.
We did.
Did we?
We did.
Oh,
Maybe before your time.
where is it? Is it given to anyone who tries to set up an event?
It was suggested that you could attach the application if you want to use town property. I have no way of knowing if that actually did. It's, I believe a nicer version was done by the town. I drafted something way back.
Well, having
Maybe needs a
booked-
refresh in
I was gonna say, or at least promote it,
right.
right? Having booked at least space for the EV showcase a couple of times, I don't think I've seen it. So it maybe isn't as widely circulated as we would like it to be. But yeah, I wonder if there are other like hands-on things that we could do to help folks who are hosting a 5K or a whatever kind of event to
I feel
do
like
it in those ways.
what Robin's talking about is more holistic and
Mm.
not something you get into the weeds on every single event.
Mhm.
Be a lot better.
Hey, look at that.
So there's 5 ways to provide a more environmental sustainable public event. 1, provide zero waste stations. 2, no helium balloons. 3, compostable supplies. 4, water stations. And 5, sustainable travel.
Well, I've never seen that before. That's
So-
delightful.
What was the last one? I'm sorry.
That doesn't like mandate anything, right?
It's just
Right, because
suggestions.
yeah, we can't, but it was intended to take it to as a, if it needs help for people to be thinking about it. I mean, the town could mandate it and add it to applications of demonstration.
Well, that's kind of
funds,
what I was thinking.
but we can't. Oh, yeah, but yeah, that they'd have to get on board with that. But
So I wonder if we're at a point in time where we could actually say no bags stuffed with flyers.
No
And
swag.
no t-shirts. I don't know. I mean, I
People
know
love
this
the
is a
swag,
tough
though.
one, but I'm just gonna throw that out there. I feel like everybody has a ton of reusable bags.
People love free stuff.
Or even no, I mean, no helium balloons or no balloons. Like people won't like that, but it's something that's clearly a wasteful.
Yeah, but so I guess I wonder whether there's stuff we can do both to promote this set of tips or to try to push it to be something that is, more widely accepted as the right way to host an event. We could even host an event. Maybe in the spring, we get some of those other organizations that are sustainability aligned and have some sort of event, and we show what a good event could look like with no helium balloons, no swag, no
I mean, I feel like
you know,
Town Day
compostable
is
stuff.
probably something.
For Town Day. I was like, if we wanted to have a sustainability focused event.
I mean,
Be
we
the-
already have.
That's true. So that's more of like a drop off your stuff. Or can we make that into a bigger event that's a little more fun?
Good.
Okay. Well. All right. Well, that's a whole lot of ideas. Other things that we've missed? This is not the only time to suggest ideas, but keep them coming. Maybe next meeting. Well, next meeting we have Gas and Light visiting. But sometime soon we should talk about any of these that feel actionable and that someone wants to take on and run. Right, we are all each empowered to take on some of these things and go run with them. So if there's something that speaks to you and you want to say, hey, I want to go start investigating bus ridership or anti-rat poison or swaps or whatever.
Yeah, maybe you can send out that list and people can ponder for the holidays,
Yes.
New Year's resolutions,
Yeah.
whatnot.
Yeah. That sounds like a great next step. Thank you. Cool. I will be wrapping us up then. It's almost 9 o'clock. Our next meeting, unless it significantly conflicts, would be Thursday, January 9th. Is that date generally okay with folks? And we moved to a Tuesday this week because of conflicts. And Kidoki, so. And we'll probably again try to be in person, and in advance of that, if we're gonna be in this building, I will make a field trip over here and have someone teach me how to use the audio system. Any matters not anticipated that anyone wants to bring up?
Motion to adjourn?
Second.
Tiana,
Yes.
Melissa,
Yes.
Robin, yes, Lillian,
Yes.
Rebecca?
I don't think we heard you, Rebecca.
I don't hear you, Rebecca.
Yes. Can you hear me now?
Okay, here we go. Thank you. Stefan,
Yes.
Anne,
Yes.
Jen,
Yes.
motion passed.
All right, we are adjourned. Thank you all and have a great night. Happy holidays. Happy New Year. See you in January.